Hey guys, the video that you're currently watching is going to be about the problems I have with what happens to big YouTube channels. Like when they get really big, there's certain things that happen, some good, some bad. I'm probably going to focus more on the bad and kind of compare them to like what they could have done that would have been better. I don't even know what I'm going to call this video yet. I just know that I want to talk about it because of how often I see these things happen. When channels get bigger, and I'm talking basically if they're able to make a living off of it or bigger than that. A lot of YouTube channels have these same problems. Sometimes they have all of these problems at once, sometimes it's just one. And there are some channels that are the exception that don't have any of these problems. I think I'll call the video "The Problem with Getting YouTube Famous" or something like that. The first and probably the most common problem that I see, I think, is that they'll get big and then they'll just kind of get lazy and start making simpler, less complex content. Now I don't want to give examples. I don't want to call out some channel and say this channel, as soon as they hit 500,000 subscribers, they turn to crap. So I'm going to give you kind of vague examples that are based on things that have actually happened. Let's say a channel, their big thing is some kind of scripted series where they have like a whole story going, and like that's the main thing people are watching for. They watch their other stuff too, you know, because over the course of this series they've come to like the person or people that are on the channel. Whenever they get to a certain point, they realize we don't have to do these things. We don't have to write scripts and, you know, do anything complicated. We can just turn on fraps, play video games, and yell and laugh and make weird noises, and people just keep watching that. Because they've gotten to that point where we're right here. We might go down some in viewership, but we're going to go up overall anyway. So they feel like there's no pressure, there's no motivation to keep doing big things if they're like, well, we can just do mindless dribble and still get a bunch of views. So why put in all the work to do like a series? Or maybe a channel starts off and like they do a certain type of let's play. Let's say they, instead of doing series, they just play a bunch of one game, cut it into the funny parts, and then that's what they build it on. So it's just like you watch a 20-minute video of them playing a game. That whole 20 minutes you're laughing because it's just the funny parts cut up enough where you can see the context, which was actually the idea that Mickey and I had when we first started Massive Score. That's why our first Let's Plays are all mostly, you know, cut up to where it's just funny parts. But yeah, you'd go from that, you get really big, and you're like, wait a minute, I can just play a game for 30 minutes and upload that 30-minute video and like not have any editing time really, except maybe cleaning up audio or something simple like that, and then that'd be it. So there's a couple of examples. They just start making simpler stuff because they realize that they've passed that line where they're going to be fine unless some drastic problem happens to YouTube and they get wiped out or something. The second thing that I noticed, this isn't as common, but I see it enough to where it annoys me to think that people do this for some reason. I can just try to sit up. They use their YouTube fame to try to get family members or friends to get big on YouTube too. And the way they do this is they go, hey, I'm going to play video games with my mom. Ha 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 ha, my mom. And everyone's like, hey, it's their mom. And then they're like, hey, it's weird because I played games with my mom for a couple of months and all of a sudden she wants her own channel, so you should check out her channel. Right then, somebody has like 1 million subscribers, plays games with his mom, and then his mom gets her own YouTube channel. She's not going to get all the 1 million to come over, but she's going to get a pretty good chunk because either somebody will like her or they'll have what a lot of subscribers have for some reason. They have like brand loyalty, almost like how there's fanboys for consoles, there's fanboys for channels. So it's like, oh man, I really like, I'm trying to make up a name. I really love Bob Glacier's channel, so since his mother, Gertrude Glacier's playing video games now, I have to subscribe to the entire Glacier family. Or it's their friend. It's like, hey, here I am playing Minecraft with my 2 best friends who just happen to hate their real life job, and who knows what'll happen. I have 2 million subscribers. Maybe go check out my friends' YouTube channels. They play games. I don't understand that. I mean, I get why you would do it, but in my head, I'm like, if somebody came up to me and said, hey, Chris, you've got 1 million subscribers, right? Well, I like to do cross-stitch on YouTube. Do you think you could plug me? I'd be like, no. I have a channel. I do what I want on the channel, and I don't want to do that. So, yeah. Number 3, I actually wrote down a list. Number 3 is abandoning whatever made them appealing initially. This kind of goes back to the first point about them getting lazy and simpler and stuff, but I think it can stretch beyond that. There's ones, I know there's a big movement to not read the comments. Here's the thing. I think it depends on the person. Some people are thick-skinned enough that if they read some comments about their video, they're gonna accept it as criticism instead of like flipping out and getting depressed. So I'm not saying everybody should leave their comments on and read the comments, because some people just can't handle that kind of stuff. They're not built for it, I guess. Me, my channel's not that big, but I've still gotten messages, you know, hey, the fat around your face is disgusting, or hey, go for a jog, fatty, or whatever. And when I read that, it's like, that's the same kind of crap I've heard for years that, like, I kind of got over in middle school. By the time I got to high school, nobody was making fun of me because they knew that when they made fun of me, nothing happened. That's not the way bullies work online, but I don't care what they comment. Now, I think like, this is a separate thing. I think the comments on YouTube should have like better moderation tools, but even as they are right now, it kind of like automatically flags stuff that has URLs in it so that you can check and go, yeah, it's a real website, or whoa, that's a real website, because there's not, but it's porn or something, whatever, or a phishing site or anything like that. Anyway, but yeah, one of my big things, and you guys know this if you've watched my channel before now, I like reading the comments. I like replying to the comments. One of my favorite things to do is reply to the trollish hate comments, because they'll be like, hey jerk, do this, or hey, I don't like most recently, there's this guy, I'm not going to say his name, because that'd be a nice thing to do for this guy. He comments on videos, and he basically just says, like, mean things, I guess they're mean. And he says, hey, I don't like your avatar, change it. Because recently I changed my avatar to my little cartoon face, and then I changed the header to an animated GIF that isn't flashy and seizure-inducing like a lot of people's are. But he says, change your avatar. My reply? Nah. And I keep getting notifications that people like my comment that says nah. Anyway, and if I ever, like, I've had this philosophy of replying and reading comments since I had like 10 subscribers. Now I actually went over the 2,400 mark like last week or the week before, which is amazing to me that I'm still gaining subscribers, even if I'm only gaining them, you know, 1 or 2 a week. It's still crazy to me. So if I got bigger than I am right now, I'd like to think I'd still try to reply to comments and read them and stuff and interact. Interaction's my big thing. And I know it's been a big thing for other channels too. And then I feel like they get to that point where it's like, well, I have 5 million subscribers. There's no way I can reply to them all. It's like, you don't have to reply to them all, especially the way they have top comments. If like the top 3 comments on a video on PewDiePie's channel or Rooster Teeth channel or whatever, any really big channel that has a bunch of subscribers, if like the top 3 comments on a lot of their videos had replies from the channel, so PewDiePie puts up a video and he's playing Batman 6, The Search for Robin Eggs, I don't know. Let's say he's playing some game and somebody makes a witty comment about something he says in the game or something that happened in the video. And then he just replies to that comment. People go nuts. People go, oh man, PewDiePie's like us. He comments on stuff. On his own stuff. I think it's cool whenever I see a big channel comment on another big channel's videos. But even that doesn't happen that often, because they get to this point where they separate themselves from YouTube so much that they think, okay, well, YouTube's where I upload my videos and get paychecks. I might look at my mentions on Twitter and then that's it. I don't get that. It doesn't take that long to comment. Especially, I'm going to stop ranting about that. Anyway. This next one's kind of a gray area, I guess. A lot of them use their money. This is the way I wrote it down. Use their money on personal, selfish things instead of using them to improve overall quality. Now, I'm not saying, hey, I'm big enough where I make 10 grand a month. I should use 10 grand a month to buy better equipment and like put on big productions. Like, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying somebody that has like a certain video quality starting out whenever they just kind of use their call center money to buy a camera and a microphone. And then they get to the point where they're making what used to be their yearly wage in like 2 months. And somehow they're still using the crappy webcam and microphone they were using whenever they were making minimum wage or whatever amount they were making before. And I think to myself, I have this webcam, which is okay. I bought that one that was supposedly better, but it wouldn't record more than like 15 frames a second, so everything looked weird. I bought this microphone from Cowboom before Best Buy started making Cowboom piece of crap. So I think that's where I bought it. Anyway, the point is, these are okay things for, like this Logitech webcam. I got a Yeti Pro mic. These are great bargain things to use. If I was making a bunch of money on YouTube, I'd stop using a webcam. I'd get a nice, I don't know, DSLR video camera. Records in super high quality. I'd start standing up for my videos instead of sitting for all of them. I'd get like a much more professional microphone that I'd probably have to buy a sound card for so that the audio quality be so crisp instead of a USB microphone. But there's people that get really big and they're just like, nah, I'm going to keep just using this crap because that way I can use all my money on all of my Taco Bell and my Mercedes and I don't know. I'm just making things up, obviously, but I think a good example, I'll go back at the end and go over examples of channels that do these things on the opposite side of it and do it well. The last one that I have is abusing the fact that they have a big fan base. Sort of the way that people on 4chan and Reddit will sometimes post and be like, hey, 4chan, what was, I haven't been to 4chan in a long time. The rule on 4chan in some section was like 4chan is not your personal army. And then you got the Reddit army. And so you think that if like you post a link on Reddit, that a bunch of people are going to latch onto it and like fight for your cause and all this junk. The same kind of thing happens with some YouTube channels. They're like, hey, you don't have to if you want to, but a friend of mine has a Steam Greenlight game. It'd be really cool if you could push it through. Then 5 minutes later, all those YouTubers subscribers that follow him on Twitter went and just clicked yes without knowing anything about it, without reading about it. They just go, hey, that guy I subscribed to said that I should go over here and vote yes. It's like, it kind of makes me worried about the future because this is the generation that's growing up and some of these people can't even vote yet. What if some big channel goes, hey, you should vote for Senator Jim Jam to be the next president? What if all the people that watch that channel that has 5 million subscribers all go out all across the country and vote for Senator Flim Flam or whatever, Jimmy Jam? That kind of influence should and could be used a lot better. So now I'm going to go back to the examples. This is going to be a long video, isn't it? Okay, real quick. Abusing the big fan base. I'm going to go backwards. Abusing the big fan base. The opposite of that would be like using the fact that you have a big fan base for good. And my immediate example I can think of is PewDiePie. I know a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people think he's annoying or whatever. But it's one of those things where you watch his videos and you see that he does charity stuff. The fact that a guy like that makes, according to Forbes or New York Times or whatever the magazine was, he makes $4 million a year on YouTube. And then he does giveaways, or not, I don't think he does giveaways, but he does charity work. I think he did stuff with Charity Water. I remember whenever Total Biscuit was doing a charity water thing, and PewDiePie donated all of the votes that had gone to him to Total Biscuit to make sure that he would win, and all the money would go to this charity water thing. And I think to myself, these guys are doing that. Why is it that there's big channels that don't do that? I remember, on top of that, PewDiePie, whenever he was just taking donations for some charity, He was like, I'll match all donations up to 50 grand. 50 grand! I make that in 2 years and a couple of months. And he's just like, hey, if you guys donate 50 grand or more, then I will also donate 50 grand. That's crazy. And it's the thought that there's channels out there that aren't as big as him, obviously, but like are even close to that, and they don't do anything. All their money goes to themselves. Not saying it's completely wrong, but anyway, and that kind of just covered that one too, using money on selfish things instead of helping things. Like even Total Biscuit, I think early this year or late last year or something, he was buying new microphone equipment, and it's like, personally, I didn't see like a huge jump in quality. I guess I can kind of notice it, but on his end, he was like, because he has a standard for his videos, he's like, well, got to do this and this and this, got to get this microphone so the audio quality better. Why don't more channels do that? I don't know. The fact that I can think of some channels that have a lot of subscribers. I apologize if I look really tired. It's just late. I think about channels that have a lot of subscribers, but whenever they play a game on the computer, you can hear their fingers clacking on the keyboard. And it's not a mechanical keyboard, it's a normal one. Their microphone just sucks. And it's like, you have a lot of money, why don't you buy a better microphone? Abandoning what made them appealing initially. I feel like the biggest example of this is obviously, the biggest example of a company not doing that, or a group not doing that, is Rooster Teeth. They started out doing Red versus Blue and like a couple of small sketch type things. And now Red versus Blue, I think they just did their 12th season? I don't know. They did that. They've added on a bunch of other stuff. Like over time, like Achievement Hunter wasn't there at the beginning. And then they have Achievement Hunter and they have Ruby now and all these other things. They did 2 seasons of a game show. But they still do Red versus Blue. They still occasionally do little sketch type things. The RT shorts. I'm like, there's other big channels that just stop using their time for that kind of stuff. There's not really an example of a YouTuber that didn't use their fame to get their family members or friends to be famous. And even the first one, lazy and making stuff simpler, all these kind of jumbled together. The point is, I hate seeing a channel get really big and either getting stagnant with the stuff they put out or like degrading. I just don't understand it. And sometimes you can hear it in their voice. It's like a channel where all they've done is play Minecraft for 4 years, and it just sounds like they're going through the motions when they play. They're just like, oh no, a zombie pig man, I'm terrified. And it's like, you can just hear it in their voice that they're trying to sound like they're making a YouTube video instead of just enjoying the game. I don't know. So anyway, this ended up being a 24-minute rant or more just about YouTube channels going crap. And I really can't think of anything else. I was sitting here for a while, come up with this dumb list. So yeah, the problem with getting big on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching. As always, leave comments if there's anything specific you want me to rant about or gripe about or just discuss. And I am really tired, but my will is strong. I'm going to sleep right now. I'll see you guys around. I'm using OBS to record this, so also tell me if the quality is poop.